My name is Hannah Kackner with the Fairfax County Department of Transportation, and I'd like to welcome you all to this meeting to discuss the 2026 proposed active transportation roadway restriping projects in Springfield District. Before we begin, I'd like to review a few guidelines so that everyone can participate and get the most out of this session. Just to note that this session is being recorded and will be posted on YouTube and then linked to the project webpage. Microsoft Teams offers a live captioning service, and you can find that by clicking the three dots at the top of your screen and choosing Turn on Live Captions. Once the presentation is completed, we'll begin the question and answer portion. Participants can ask any questions aloud. The chat feature has been disabled for tonight, so we will not be taking written questions. And if you're on the phone, just be sure to hold your questions until the end, and we'll have instructions on how to go about asking questions at the end of the presentation. We also encourage you to make your comments on our proposed crosswalk projects using our online survey by email or by phone. And at the conclusion of the presentation, we'll go over instructions on how to submit feedback. Before we begin, I would like to introduce a few people joining us tonight. Peyton Onks is here from Supervisor Harity's office. Thanks for joining us. And then I'd also like to introduce our presenter, Sandy Clanfer, Transportation Planner 3 with Fairfax County Department of Transportation's Active Transportation section. Sandy will present slides on FCDOT's proposed restriping projects as part of the 2026 repaving program, and this will include any crosswalks that FCDOT is proposing to add through VDOT's repaving program. So with that, I'll turn it over to Sandy.
All right, thanks, Hannah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sandy Clanfer. I'm a active transportation planner with the active transportation team at the Fairfax County Department of Transportation. And tonight I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the restriping projects that we have going on in the Springfield district. So just to give you an overview of what we're going to be talking about tonight, I'll give you an overview of how this program works. We'll talk about a few of the striping modifications that we are proposing, and then we'll have some time for questions and answers. So the repaving program is a collaboration between the Virginia Department of Transportation and us, the Fairfax County Department of Transportation. And it allows us to work together to improve traffic safety for everyone using the road. We will review the VDOT draft paving plan. VDOT decides which roads they intend to repave, and we'll identify opportunities for improvements on those roads, such as new crosswalks, such as bike lanes in some cases, but tonight we're just talking about crosswalks. VDOT will develop the striping plans and coordinate implementation with their contractors. We do this public engagement effort, and we coordinate with the county supervisors as well. VDOT will identify and reconstruct curb ramps and median roll-throughs that are substandard, and that will help improve accessibility. And then we, FCDOT, install the any necessary signage. So we're doing things a little bit differently this year than we've done in the past. Typically, we've held these public meetings about the proposed striping modifications in the spring, but this year we're going to be hosting those meetings in the fall instead, and that gives us and VDOT a little more time to design the new pavement markings and All of the roadways that we're going to be talking about tonight appear on VDOT's draft repaving list, but they won't finalize that list until this coming spring, and they will do the repaving next year. So a couple of notes before I get into the proposed modifications. All of our proposed crosswalks are subject to VDOT approval. All roadways with proposed striping modifications appear on VDOT's draft repaving list. VDOT will publish their final repaving list in April 2026 and may choose to defer the repaving of any of these roads. For roadways that don't end up on the final repaving list for 2026, any proposed crosswalks or other marking changes will also be deferred until that road is repaved. So, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about some crosswalk enhancements tonight. We, FCDOT, study pedestrian crossing locations without crosswalk markings to determine if the crossing meets VDOT warrants for marked crosswalks and if any parking restrictions are needed to improve the safety at those intersections. We also, as part of this, will sometimes have to upgrade existing curb ramps to meet ADA standards. And VDOT will upgrade existing crosswalk striping from standard to high visibility, like you can see in this photo here. That's near schools and near transit stations. So this is the first new proposed crosswalk. This is at the intersection of Burke Road and Cara Place, and this will cross Burke Road. This crosswalk will replace another crosswalk nearby that does not have any curb ramps, so it's not ADA compliant. This crosswalk will require removal of 11 parking spaces for sight distance requirements. In the survey, you'll have the option to give your opinion on adding the crosswalk, knowing that it will require the removal of a few parking spaces. Here's an illustration of where parking will need to be restricted. These areas marked in yellow are the places where parking will need to be gotten rid of. So close to the crosswalk we just mentioned is this crosswalk across Burke Road at Ticonderoga Court. Again, this is also replacing the nearby crosswalk that's not ADA compliant. Again, this will require removal of 10 parking spaces for sight distance requirements. And again, you'll be able to give your feedback on this in the survey. And here, once again, on this image, the yellow areas that are drawn into this diagram here, those are the places where parking will need to be removed. Just to give you a sense, this is the existing crosswalk that those two would be replacing. This is at Burke Road and Bonnie Byrne Court. And as you can see, there's no curb ramps at all. So this is definitely not ADA compliant. Another proposed crosswalk is at Huntsman Boulevard and Beachway Lane, and this is crossing Huntsman Boulevard. And here there are no parking restrictions required. Another proposed crosswalk crossing Huntsman Boulevard at Spur Road. This will provide a connection between bus stops. This will require removal of 9 parking spaces for sight distance requirements. However, from our investigations, we've found that this parking does not appear to be heavily used. Here, this diagram will show where the parking would need to be removed for this crosswalk, once again shown in yellow here. This is a proposed crosswalk across Hampton Forest Way, where there is an existing trail crossing that does not have a marked crosswalk. This one has been requested by this local homeowners association. This will require removal of 16 parking spaces to meet site distance requirements. And once again, here's an illustration of where those parking spaces would be removed for this crosswalk. This is another proposed crosswalk across Hampton Forest Way at Ashley Road. This is another one that has been requested by the local homeowners association. This one will also require removal of 14 parking spaces for site distance requirements. And once again, here's a diagram of where those spaces would be removed, once again shown in yellow. And this is another crosswalk that is proposed to cross Hampton Forest Way, this one at Homewood Way. This is another one that has come at the request of the local homeowners association, and this one would require the removal of 16 parking spaces for site distance requirements. And once again, you can see in yellow here where the parking would need to be removed in relation to the crosswalk. So as far as feedback is concerned, if you have comments about that are related to pavement or road maintenance, and that can be anything from drainage issues to missing signage, to broken signals or walkways, that can be submitted to VDOT through their portal, which is at my.vdot.virginia.gov. If you would like to request a road repair, you can follow the I need a road repaired link on that portal, or you can call 1-800-4ROAD. That is 1-800-367-7623. And on the bottom, you can visit the project webpage for the Fairfax County Restriping Program at www.fairfaxcounty.gov/transportation/2026-paving-and-restriping-program. With that, I'll turn it back over to Hannah.
Thank you, Sandy. So at this point, we'll go ahead and move on to the question and answer portion of the meeting. I'll quickly go over how to ask a question. So if you're online, you can raise your virtual hand, which is located at the top of your screen next to the three dots. I'll enable your microphone and then call on you to ask your question. Please unmute yourself when I call your name and ask your question or provide your comment. If you're on the phone, you'll just need to press *5 to raise your hand. And when I call your phone number, just press *6 to unmute yourself. And then once you're finished, just press *6 again to mute yourself. And again, we will not be taking questions via the chat tonight. We can start with Frank.
Thank you, Hannah. Hello, Sandy. Hello, Peyton. I live in the Heritage Square neighborhood off of Ticonderoga. Previously lived on Cara Place, so it's close to home for me. Could you go back to the slide of the Ticonderoga crossing?
Sure. Uh, Sorry, I went past it. There we
I
go.
just saw it there. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
There.
That's the one that shows the parking spaces.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, good to know. So that's 4 spaces on that side, on the south side of the road, out of the 10. And at the Cara Place, that's, I think, can you go up to the parking slide for that one? Just 1 space being removed on the on the right side of there. Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah, most of them
Yeah,
are on the
I
opposite
support it.
side.
Yeah, I think these are important. That crosswalk that's there now is practically invisible. Um, uh, just wondered if you all had taken into consideration the Burke Road realignment project that's underway. That's going to be around the bend.
Hey Frank, this is Peyton. I actually talked with Todd Robson at VDOT and he confirmed the end of the repaving is before the scope of the curve improvement.
Oh, I understand that. I'm just thinking about traffic wise because you could end up with a lot faster movement. People are typically turning down to approach the curve now. With the curve gone, I feel like they're going to go faster. That's, I don't have any data to back that up, but they're fast enough as it is.
Gotcha.
So you would just need lots of signage because people are going to be approaching it even faster than they are now.
Right. Yeah. I wasn't familiar with the project, but yeah, thanks for flagging that. And also thanks Peyton for looking into that.
Yeah, thank you, Peyton.
Adding additional signage is always an option in the future if we need it. But the standard now is to have just the advanced warning signage ahead of the mid-block crossings. So those like pedestrian crossing ahead signs on either approach would be standard.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Next, we can go to Chris. I just allowed your microphone.
Okay, thanks, Hannah. Thanks, Sandy. Appreciate the presentation. Generally, as you guys know, I work with Fairfax Families for Safe Streets. I think we're supportive of all these projects, although I will admit I don't know a lot about the specific locations. This is not my corner of the county, but yeah, generally very supportive of the paving and restriping program and the pedestrian improvements you guys are able to make. I do have just a few general questions. I assume in your surveys, when you're asking folks about parking, that you would not install a crosswalk without removing the parking that you guys have designed, right? It's a all or nothing.
Yes. So, yeah, the parking restriction is a VDOT requirement. So they have
Right.
certain sight distance requirements that we have to meet. So we wouldn't be able to install the crosswalk without restricting the parking, which is why we ask about it in the survey.
Okay, just confirming. I don't see anybody else with their hands up, so I got a couple more questions, so I'll just keep going if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, sure.
I was going to ask you to what the speed limits were on these roads. There's enough of them that maybe I'll instead ask if any of these roads are signed at a greater than 25 miles per hour. Huntsman Road in particular looked like a particularly speedy roadway. I'm just curious if any of these are signed at speeds greater than 25 miles per hour.
That's a good question. I can pull that up. I should be able to pull that up quickly. I believe Huntsman is 25.
Okay,
It
I
just-
guess
That's
I
right
guess-
near where it increases though. So I'm curious, this is Peyton, I'm curious where exactly the limit starts increasing as you head north on Huntsman, south on Huntsman, sorry.
Okay. I guess kind of the follow-up, Hannah and Sandy and Peyton, would be in those cases, are there additional requirements around signage, like advanced warning signs as opposed to just the warning signs at the crosswalk? Or do you do a different type of installation on a 25 mile per hour road as opposed to 35 mile per hour or higher?
So since these are all mid-block, VDOT would be adding advanced warning signage to all of
Okay.
them. That's not dependent upon the speed limit.
That's
If
based
the speed
on
limit
the
were
fact that it's
greater than like 35 or it was like a really wide road, sometimes they would require us to have additional countermeasures like an RFB
Yeah.
installed when the crosswalk goes in, but that wasn't the case for any of these, or else we wouldn't be able to add them through repaving. And yeah, I do have these up. Actually, Huntsman is 35.
Okay,
And
but
then
it sounds like you're saying that VDOT doesn't require you to do anything different as opposed to a 25-mile-per-hour road in terms of signage or.
that's correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay, two more quick questions. When you are removing parking, I couldn't keep up. Some of the roads look like they have painted parking lanes and some don't seem to have any painted parking. Are you only installing signs, or sometimes do you use signs and paint? Is it sort of, I guess it depends perhaps whether the parking lanes are painted and striped or not?
Usually we just do signage, but depending on what how we decide to move forward with the restrictions, we could always request to VDOT that they update the striping around the parking or no parking zones to make it a little more clear to people. Typically, we just add the signage though.
Okay, like the image you have up now is somewhat similar to the road that I live on. So when they repaved a few years ago and removed parking, they would have, yeah, there was some striping that was done such that there's, a white line that designates the end of the parking zone that lines up with the no parking sign. But that took some time. I think they actually did that a year later. And I think some people I think are focused on stripes on the ground and not signs. And so anyway, just something maybe to look at in your striping plans.
Yeah, thank you. And we can definitely make that request to VDOT to make it a little more clear. But at the very least, we'll have signage.
Okay. And then last but not least, I guess this is maybe a little bit off topic, but some of the images, even the one you've got up now, one of the things that I think makes these crosswalks more dangerous than they need to be are these somewhat crazy, I would say, turn radii that VDOT tends to build. The crossing distance is so much longer than it needs to be. And I'm assuming this is out of scope, but it's been a couple of years now that I think FCDOT has been tasked to pursue a turn calming program. And I haven't heard anything about that. Is there any chance that any of these projects would have curb extensions, even the temporary, sort of bollard and paint type? Is that something that's in scope in any of these projects this year or perhaps future years? Or are you guys still trying to sort out what turn calming, approaches you might be able to use in the county?
Yeah, so we're still trying to determine what VDOT will allow in terms of turn calming treatments, but definitely not within the scope of the repaving project, unfortunately.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Thanks. Those are my questions for tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to provide feedback, and we'll fill out your survey in support of these projects. Thank you.
Thank you. One last call for any questions before we wrap up. All right, seeing none. Sandy, would you mind going to the last slide with the instructions on how to submit feedback? Thank you.
There we go. This slide.
Ooh. Oh, what was that?
Sorry, this slide.
Yes.
Cool.
Yep. All right, so just, oh yeah, sorry, Chris, you can go ahead.
Sorry, Hannah, maybe you were just about to cover it. I was just going to ask if there's a deadline for completing the feedback form for this and the other meetings.
Yes, so for each meeting, it's 2 weeks past the date of that meeting. So for this one, it will be October 27th.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, as a reminder, just feedback can be submitted through October 27th using the following channels. You can submit a survey at engage.fairfaxcounty.gov/I66242. You can leave recorded comments at 703-890 5898 using the project code 4992. You can also send us comments by mail. Attention Hannah Kackner at 4050 Legato Road, Suite 400, 220 Fairfax, Virginia 22033. You can also send us comments or ask any questions by email at dotbicycleprograms@fairfaxcounty.gov. So this concludes our meeting on the 2026 Roadway Restriping Program. In Springfield District, a recording of the meeting will be available on the project webpage within the next day or so. Thank you again for joining us tonight, and we really appreciate your time and participation.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you for being here. Have a good night.